I'd like to call the June meeting of the Conservation Commission to order at 7:04. Thursday, June 13th. We'll start off by Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Fred.
I win. Fred? I think it'd be best for the roll call because they'll be doing the minutes from the tape if we just call off our names, starting with Win.
Win Hilton.
Bob Gaster.
Stephanie Coster. Jessica Vasey Powell.
Bruce Fecto.
Fred Pearson.
Jeff Goldnoff.
Janice Rosa.
Dale Pike.
Okay, thanks. Drew is off tonight at the award ceremony for the graduating class. I'll be filling in. I don't see any public, so we won't have any public comments unless someone has something to say up front here. We'll move along to number 4, the approval of the minutes. Everybody has one? Any comments on that? I'm not one for picking up on misspellings and things, but it looked like everything was there. So I'll entertain that motion.
Make a motion.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, that's okay.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 9th, 2013 Conservation Commission.
Second.
Janice, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, treasurer's report. There were some extra ones. Wait, yep, Fred's got one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Get my stuff out of the way.
Multiple copies of that?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's.
Jeff, did you just want to skim over that for us?
Yeah, so the only change that we should see on this is that the deposits from last month show up. The L-chip money and the local sports donation will show up as a $650. Shows up as a debt, so it's really a credit.
Yeah, they,
So under on page 2 of the general ledger, right? You can see it.
page 2 of the general ledger. Is that the
May 2013.
Okay.
And that's, I didn't see, if anyone has anything else that they noticed that they'd like to point out?
At least now we can understand these a little bit better.
Yeah.
Thanks for your work.
A little
Well,
tough to understand. But
it's that
it's,
accounting thinking that you gotta get used to.
definitely.
Debits are really yours and credits are theirs, and that backwards thing there. Committee reports. Town council, any reports from them?
Any questions?
Not really.
No, I mean, there was some discussion of the McAllen Dam, and it's on the minutes for the committee, for the workshop coming up Wednesday,
Coming up this Wednesday.
this, next week.
And that's just going to be, for everyone who wants to know, it's just presenting the RFP and asking the town to accept the contractor that we've chosen. But there's no, gonna be no discussion about the actual removal or non-removal of dam. It's just for accepting the contractor to do the study.
Thank you.
Would they, can I ask
Excuse me, just one moment. If we could just make sure we speak into the microphone, because they're gonna have to take the minutes off the recording. Okay, go ahead, Janice.
Jessica. Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Stephanie, at the last meeting we had, you mentioned some of the cost that could be removed in the dam process of removing or repairing. Will that information be just touched upon at the town council meeting?
I'm not sure if they're going to review, so that was a report sent in by a previous study. I'm not sure if they're going to review that information. That is not what the committee, the dam removal committee, is going to the meeting to talk about, so I can't say whether they're going to review that.
Okay. How about planning board,
The
Janice?
planning board, as this committee knows, you've been working with the Vitas, and we did approve the lot line adjustment. And I know we had, Conservation Committee had provided input to the planning board beforehand, which the letter, which was taken in consideration, and they have been approved. Chimberg came in front of us, and the project up at the mills site, oh, not the mill site, but across from the mill, the retail store where Riverdale is, and the other project is going to be coming back to us, and they put it on hold for another week.
The other project, is that
Is
the
the one
golf
out,
course?
well, he has 3 projects going. The Riverdale, the restaurant at the Riverdale,
Yeah.
the one up still on Spring Street, and that parking lot
At the backside
at
of
the
the
backside where the retail shop is 9,000 square feet going in. And he has the third one that he came in with a conceptual plan of the golf course, which would be, I think it was 41 houses. I have to go look in here, or 50 houses, and the golf, and he made it very clear he is not in the golf course business, and that he would be looking to see if there'd be anybody out there they could lease to have run the golf course, to have it kept as a golf course. If not, it could be a open space. So, I mean, that's left kind of out in the open. I'm hoping he can find enough past members of the golf course who could form a co-op and run the golf course, because I know that's what people like to see when they come into town, but that's not my place, but that's what I'm going to be pushing for. So I'm going to talk to some of the members to see if maybe they ever came up with the idea of a co-op. Because he brought up the concept that maybe the town could run the golf course. But I hate to, no comment on that.
No comment.
And I hate to see it as open space, because there's a lot of tax revenue down there. And we'll lose the tax revenue if it goes into open space.
When did he buy the golf course?
That information, I'm not privy to, I'm sure, but
It's happened yet.
it's probably, Bob, usually what happens, those sales agreements are contingent until
The
he gets all
approvals.
the approvals with the town and the state. It's gonna take a while to get all those approvals to DES, because there's wetlands down there, and there's the traffic study, so it's gonna take a while. It's not gonna be bing bang tomorrow. It's gonna take some time. But I don't have the plans, I never got the conceptual plans, because I pick my stuff up before everybody else picks theirs up, and it came in after the pickup date.
He's not the first.
No, he's not the
There
first
was
one who
another
came.
contractor that came to us.
That came before.
52 houses.
Just a few months ago,
Right.
and it wasn't for 52, though. It was
I may
for
have the-
just phase 1, I thought.
I may have the amount wrong, could be 41.
You're gonna find it's 52,
52, yeah.
or whatever.
Is there town water and sewage to that
He's
point?
going, they touched upon that, and according to Sean, there would be enough, there wouldn't be a problem, but he's gonna have to probably run that water line down further, and the surge line,
Right.
and
So
upgrade
it
it.
will be serviced by the town
Yes.
and not septic system?
Right. That question was
wells.
brought up about the infrastructure. I know I brought it up about the infrastructure, and some other board members brought up about the infrastructure and about the impact with the houses on the school system, but we can't deny something on that. Yeah, there'd be an impact.
Wetlands issue.
There's a big wetlands out back there.
And there'd be houses along the border of the golf course in the back of it, not on the front
People
side,
gave
but
it
along
up
the back.
before.
What's that one?
That's why it was given up by the other people. Remember when they came here with it?
Yes, right.
But they came with it, the other people, because they were gonna put like a retail stores down there. They weren't gonna keep the one I'm thinking of.
Not the last one that came here, no.
just a few months ago, there was a fellow that came with plans to build the houses.
Less than 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, a lot less.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago.
What?
But I think when it, hit on it big is the wetlands in the back there, how close they're gonna come to that. I think
Whole
that's where
golf
the
course,
planning
the whole
board
side
has
is
to keep an eye on that for us, and, if they have water and sewage from the town, I mean, that takes care of quite a few issues right there. As far as the rest of it, that's for the planning board to hash
Yeah,
out.
there's a lot of it that's gonna be coming through.
Do you know when he's coming back before the planning board?
He's coming back, let's see, he's coming back on July 9th for one of them, but I don't think it's, no, because he has a TRC meeting for the mills, for the
Okay.
Riverdale one. I mean, not the Riverdale one, the one behind. So all he said was, "I'll be back."
Okay. All right.
The date was given to me
That's scheduled, yeah.
on that one, on the golf
Yeah,
course one.
yep.
That's just a copy of the shops, if anybody wants to see the shop. Oh, it was 52 house lots.
Good memory.
Yeah, I didn't look at that either before then. Going on everything, though.
The current proposal or the former one?
This is the one for the golf course.
Both. I think I just copied the plans.
When a developer comes before the planning board with a conceptual plan, is that usually during a public hearing or during a workshop or?
It was at a regular meeting.
It was,
It was
okay.
at a regular meeting, and they did ask, people who were there could address their concerns, and
Mhm.
they will always have a public hearing and make it
Okay.
known. It was just a conceptual plan to see if usually conceptual plans are, the developer will come in to make sure, to see if something's gonna fly. Because if he's gonna run into a lot of opposition, it's gonna cost him a lot of money for engineering costs.
Right.
They don't want that.
Right.
And that's why they come first, or to see what issues would be that they would have to address. They get a feel for it. Nothing's concrete, because nothing's voted on in the conceptual plan. He just hears input.
And you said you didn't have a chance to see the plan yet?
No, because I pick up my stuff way before everybody else.
Okay.
And that came in after the deadline date, for when I go down to pick it up.
Yep.
I like to get my stuff like a couple weeks in advance.
Okay. Other committees, dam news?
Just, I mean, what
Other
we
than
talked
just
about.
what- Okay.
And then the land conservation subcommittee. You can say what.
The town did sign the contract with the Southeast Land Trust, and that's been returned to the Southeast Land Trust, so they're going to go ahead and start approaching the landowners that we had previously talked about.
And I believe that they anticipate being done with our requested reach outs by December, right?
Well, that's when the contract ends,
Right,
so
so
they
the
hope,
contract, yeah,
they
yeah.
hope to be done by then,
Right, right,
yeah.
right. So just in terms of timing, we may want to recheck in around that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Things are moving along there. That's pretty much it. The only other subcommittee would be the scholarship, which Drew's taking care of at this moment. So that's good. Janice?
Just that, and maybe Dale could help me out. Some of the zoning issues that the planning board was proposing is going in front of the town council again on July 9th, and I think, June 9th, I mean. Am I correct? It's June 9th.
It's next Wednesday,
Yeah, which is next Wednesday, so.
which is not, it's June, is it 20?
19th.
I
19.
said June 9th. June 9th's on my brain for some reason. The 19th. I'm sorry. June 9th. I'm stuck somewhere else. So I just wanted people to be aware of that in case if they had any questions or concerns, to go to that meeting, because the zoning proposals that we have not been approved by the town council yet, because they had some questions that were sent back. Everything's going back and forth. So.
Is there anything specific that you think the Conservation Commission should be concerned about?
No, because we're just trying to do, change the zoning right now, so get some, some mixed-use development going in different locations through town where some places couldn't be done, that it could be done, so. I wouldn't say right, well, maybe the only concern could be, if it was approved, would be this one up here, across from the library, Elm Street. That guy comes before anybody with a proposal, it's gonna be affecting the river. The other things are in the works is, Ed Nichols on Water Street. And that's already been in the works, that's come before the board. The biggest one would be golf course.
Which is not part of this rezoning.
No, which isn't part of the rezoning, but if those are the only things right now that I'm aware of, that doesn't mean there isn't anything else in the works, I'm not the chairman.
No, I didn't
so-
know about the zone, if there's anything specific to the zoning.
No, there was a lot of questions about multi-house
No.
zoning and things like that. You can look at this if you want. Yeah, it is kind of,
I'll try to, it's available.
So the next step, Chairman's report, pretty much already touched base on the Heron Point encroachment. That's been taken care of. Sounds like just a matter of filing all the paperwork, correct?
Yeah.
Janice, on the Heron Point lot,
Yep.
that's taken care of. It's
Yep.
done deal.
yep.
Okay. The linked together tree request delayed till fall. I wonder what, maybe that has something to do with a better time to plant trees or whatever. Don't have a clue on what they wanted to come with.
I saw something, in that area, there's a tree there already, planted in that, onto one side,
Okay.
nearest the ledge, near the rocks. And, if they want to match it, it's, I don't know what it is, it's some sort of a crab tree or something, looks like. I could see where the other one was probably plowed over or something, I don't know what happened to it, but you could see where it was planted before, you could make out that it was just right opposite that,
Oh,
the other
okay.
one. But I couldn't see any evidence of, you could just about make out where it was, and that's it.
Okay.
I think one tree in that area would be plenty. If you have two in there, that's a lot for that little spot.
Might be more than it can handle.
I think so.
I think so, from what I've seen.
I was always under the impression to ask the nursery where you get your tree stock. 'Cause most of those people know, how much room those trees need.
Find the most optimum place to plant it in there, if they want it open space or whatever, they want the tree in the middle, but just one tree, I think, would be plenty.
But Bob, the kids read a grant, they submit a grant, so, and when they do the grant, they're very specific about, like a little scheme that they present with the grant, because I saw the grant and I've helped the kids go down and plant. So they go by what they proposed, and they have consulted tree people in the area. So they do their little homework.
Oh, good.
They really work hard, the kids. And right now, I think there's little issues about maybe trying to raise some funds for the tree, and maybe, I think they should go back to Stratum Nursery
Yeah.
to ask the man who's working with the town, with on the trees through the main street now.
Right.
Stay with a consultant like him. Stay with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's where
And they could get a dwarf tree if they want a
Yeah.
second tree.
If they're dwarfed, it'd
No,
probably be all right.
they can't get a big one because it's gonna overpower, but that could have been a small tree too. It could have been a dwarf one.
So is it a money issue or is it just planning issue?
I thought it was that they were working on the grant application still, and that's why they didn't want to come before us yet. That's not right.
She wrote me an explanation, there's so many different things going on, I forgot the exact thing. But she likes to have the kids come to present their questions to the board, different boards in town. Request.
Okay. Old and new business. A fishing derby this weekend, Saturday, June 15th. It's always been a good day. I think the weather's finally going to break for that, so hopefully they'll have a good time. I did not get any information on the wetlands permit issue at 13 Water Street. not received that, so.
The permit was issued by DES.
It
It's
was.
Pretty much what we expected.
Yeah.
based on the result.
Okay. Action item list, a new list here, updated?
It is, before we get into the action item list, I wanted to, just raise an idea to the commission, and just hear what people's thoughts were. You know, we're concerned with nitrogen inputs, and I was noticing, speaking of Water Street the other day, that there's quite a lot of, gardening that goes on right at the bank of, right there, all along that entire strip, along, I guess, Water Street, is that, no, not that Water Street, whatever that one is.
The parking lot
The
area
parking lot
with
area.
the,
Behind the middle.
Right, and I didn't know, yeah, behind the mill, right.
Yeah, that's true.
And I didn't know if we wanted to see if we could do some kind of informational campaign about fertilizer or something, because there's not a lot between that garden, all those gardens, and they're quite developed, and the water itself.
you think maybe a mailer sent out to the residents of the mill and the owners in that area? Just asking them to be a little bit of aware of that?
Yeah, I don't know, what does the committee think?
I've always thought it would be a good idea to almost everyone in town, or, because it's not just those people, there's a lot more people that have lawns in
That's true.
the areas down to the river, or the, whether it's Piscastic or the Lamprey, or, so there's a lot more impact in other areas as well. So to single them out, I think would be a good approach.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I think it's a global issue. It's not just a specific one there, so I would
That's a great
certainly
example
endorse
of it.
that, yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
I think it's a good idea to have a mailer or whatever, you're thinking of, or, I think we've actually talked about doing that before.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think you're right. I think we have.
We
and
did
just
talk about
Didn't
it.
get that
We
way.
did.
Didn't get there.
Didn't get there, right.
Well, could you incorporate that with maybe a speaker on nitrogen and then also a quick thing about invasive plants at the same time, which can be recorded and played over and over and over? Of course, not everyone has Comcast, I realize that.
I don't know if it's invasive plants so much as the fertilizer people are using on their lawns. And it's just like, it's not,
Yeah, I
it's
know,
not
the invasive
Water
plants is
Street,
another
it's,
issue in town.
it's Simon Lane, it's any, riverfront homes, be it the Piscasca, Lamprey, or wherever. I think that's a great idea, is to put out something to send out, a mailing type thing. I don't know that we could separate waterfront properties or just do the whole town. Oh, I have not a clue on how many that would be. Probably be good to send out information.
Are there regional organizations that are trying to do initiatives around that we could sort of
Yeah.
tap into? Because I think it would be, I think people are trying to, and I know in my case, I'm on water, and I'm interested in good information about, what is the way to minimize the impact of any amount of, we use organic and fertilizer, and we don't try to do any on the downslope and all of that thing. But I still don't think there's a lot of information about what's reasonable and what's not reasonable. I don't see a lot that's specific about that. People do different things.
I remember seeing a very specific flyer about this
A flyer?
in town hall in Massachusetts. And I wonder if it's just something to talk to another organization that we started.
Would, like, UNH have anything? We
I
had.
think
we
that
had
probably does, yeah.
we had a speaker not
Yeah,
that
that's-
long ago.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, Janice, because we have had a nitrogen invasive species speakers come in.
Did you set that up
I wonder
for
if
us?
Chris
One,
could,
she said it one.
You got one in you?
I wonder if Chris could air them again, they're probably out of
There you
circulation.
go. Oh, yeah.
But you mean the
Oh,
the
what?
old, the first nitrogen one we had, or the second?
Probably the second one, it's a little bit more accessible, and actually the invasive one, somebody came and actually talked in the town hall too, so it was taped, yeah.
Like that knotweed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a new one that
Everybody
just
has it.
came out that's, I don't know the name of it.
Giant hogweed.
Yeah, did you see that? It's pretty dangerous.
Phototoxic and, Yeah.
I don't know if we have any around here, but I see, who knows what else could be just as poisonous.
That brings up a question. Coming into town, not to single out anybody, but coming into town, as you come up to the, where the car wash place is, if you look to the right, there's that straight stuff that's growing straight up, like bamboo
It's
almost.
like bamboo, yeah.
Probably is.
Is that what it is,
Probably
bamboo?
Japanese.
It looks like it, I don't know what it is. I was remarking.
But it's spreading.
It's a bamboo.
Is that bamboo?
Of some sort, I don't
I-
know
I think
exactly
so.
what it is, but it looks like it's yellow stalked, it looks
Yeah.
like bamboo.
And that's in a
Do you know if that's
swampy
invasive?
area.
It looks,
That's in
I have no idea.
But it's not,
It was brought in
Near
as
the
a
road.
ornamental planting.
that's what
We
I
had
thought.
some further down when we lived on Exeter Street, just down from where you're talking about. They planted along wall lines just to be a little bit more private, have privacy.
It's not
It
considered
grows like
invasive.
crazy, you can't,
Well, that's
kill it.
it, that's the thing. So that's evasive then.
I'm sure it is, you know, I'm
Once you,
not
once you
that-
get it in there, it's gonna spread all over the place then. In that area, it'll just fill in the swamp with. It-
Possible.
It looks kinda nice, I mean, but when it's small, but then if you said it grows like crazy and spreads, then maybe it's something to consider.
Well, it's on private property right now, so I don't know how much you can do with that, but I think, bringing it to light to the people, if we had something to mail out, if we put in the invasive species, the fertilizer, maybe we'll send out like a value pack of items that we could do to help clean up the area.
I could check with Nature Conservancy. They have an invasive plant program. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I saw 12 or 14 great big trash bags, and I wondered what was in them. And that was invasive plants that they'd collected up off Bay Road there. Joanne Glode, I think, is the one that's head of that particular program, and I can talk with her about what they have that's available. I know they have a flyer, for example, on invasive plants.
Well, if they had one, maybe we could, you know,
And,
maybe we should look into seeing how many we would need to do a sending, mailing for the town.
you know, I could look into that with her in terms of what it is they have, how we could procure it.
Could you check on the nitrogen levels?
Pamphlets.
Pamphlets?
Yeah.
Yeah, see
Yeah.
if, I mean, if we have to buy them, we buy them and then send them.
Well, wait, you know what, couldn't you send it out with the water bills? We're not everybody's on town water, but, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just,
everybody's on
That'd be a
top.
way to
A lot of
economize
people
that.
aren't.
It's the
I'm
point.
trying to think of, yeah, exactly, if there's 10,000 or 8,000, that's how many people, that's how many homes.
No, I think there's less than, what, 3,500 homes,
Yeah. that's right.
addresses?
Because I know the water bills come out monthly now, right? Mine's been coming out monthly anyway. I don't know if
We
anybody
probably hit
else's.
half of them once a month.
I'm just trying to think, you know,
Yeah, but aren't the water bills, are they similar to the tax bill, that they're printed through an envelope and?
Yes.
it's like when you get your
I don't know, I'm
DMV
not on,
license thing, you know, it's just like it was before, except for mine's coming out monthly. I don't know if anybody else's is coming out.
well, that's what I
monthly.
mean, I don't think you can stuff any extra in the envelope,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
because it comes printed,
On that form,
On
yeah,
that-
I see what you're saying, not an envelope.
it's an envelope that they
Pre-
print from the
yeah.
outside, or however they do
I was
that.
just trying to think of save money on postage, that's all.
Good idea.
You could ride around and illegally put it in mailboxes. Just kidding.
But why don't we,
It'd be cheaper.
it would be, unless we get
So you
arrested. Then the bail would take care of the mailing fees. But there are ways to mail things, bulk like that, and not have to pay 44 cents or 46 cents now.
48, isn't it?
Something like that.
Is it 49? I don't know, I just.
Well, I hear
bought it
50.
roll today, I should know.
No ideas. So maybe we can do that as a little project, what do you think?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
We had an education subcommittee at one point, with certain members on it.
Yep.
Is that committee defunct, or is this something that they would like to take the helm on? And I can refresh our memories as to who's on it if people want to be reminded, but I don't have to do that either.
Boy, I can't remember ever having a meeting called together for that.
So maybe we'll just ignore that.
I'd like to know.
You were not,
I might be.
but you were, so we'll leave it at that.
I thought it was more of the education, well, that goes along with it. I was thinking more of the school scholarships in the school, day trips to the school, that type of thing, but why couldn't it put that?
On invasive species, there's an interesting, like along Ash Swamp Road, at least between my house and Grant Road, there's like a, I don't know, every 2,000 feet, there's a little clump of knotweed. Both sides of the road.
Really?
Yeah. I fear it could become quite a problem because a lot of spots it's not actually in people's yards, and I have seen some people where it's in front of their houses just sitting with a weed whacker, which chops it up into a million pieces, and that may. It's also the route to the dump, and maybe people are taking it to the dump and it's falling off their trailers, and I don't really know how it's gotten spread, but it wasn't like that 2 or 3 years ago, and you can especially tell that because the clumps are rather, this might be 5 plants.
So do you notice it more from Four Corners to the dump, or the whole length?
I hardly ever travel that
So
section, so I run my bike down that other section very frequently, so that's why I see it very.
Yeah.
And then I go down Grant Road and I don't see any on Grant Road, between the Four Corners and 152. And so I don't know if it's a product of one person had it in their yard and it got broken up and scattered, or maybe somebody was moving it to the dump and it was flying off the trailer, because it tends to not, from the speakers that we've had, it tends to not really reproduce that well by seed, mostly by vegetative little pieces falling off and taking root. So the only reason I bring it up is because it's kind of like, I don't feel that anyone is gonna, if it was in my front yard, I would go remove it, and do my best to try to control it and remove it, but I feel that people are probably not gonna do anything. Or if they do, they're just gonna cut it down and say it's gone, and then next year it'll come back.
Yeah, they just may not know.
Yeah, because they don't
If you
know
get along
that.
good with your neighbors, let them know.
No, well, they're, I don't know them, they're up the
Oh.
road, I do get along with my neighbors, but they're not the people they're not my direct neighbors, and I'm sure.
Is it in the road
It's in
right
the road,
away? that
Yeah,
could-
it's in between the pavement and the stone walls on the sides of the
Yeah,
road.
so I think that's fair game if we were to go and pull it.
Well, that's what I wonder if there's, if we send out a flyer and people say, oh, yeah, I'm gonna do something about this, I might have this in my front yard, I just think it's some of the most common and most aggressive ones are these.
Are there better times to yank that out of the ground?
Yeah,
I thought we went over that. in
we
the
did,
work.
I don't remember, but I
I
know.
don't either.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
thought there were
One that
better
you have to like
times.
smother or something
Yeah.
right there. You can't like move it or cut it or anything.
Well, we can
Yeah, yeah.
bag it. I thought they said we could
You
bag.
can, but you have to get the entire root system.
You have to dig it up, right?
Yeah,
They
I think that
talked
doesn't really work either.
They talked about like putting
Yeah, with
plastic
Roundup.
tarps on
Roundup
it.
will
Yeah,
get it if
mats.
you get it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, the other way is.
Nothing wrong with that.
Is that way. And
What's that with
there's a specific-
Roundup?
Yeah.
Spray it with Roundup. I have it all around, I did have it all around my place, and I hit it 3 years in a row, and now it's almost non-existent.
That's probably the best way to do it.
But you gotta get right on it.
And they say to do that in the fall, right? When it's sucking the
Doesn't matter.
I
nutrients
thought
from
they
the upper
said
portion
do
of the
it
plant.
I
down
think
to the
early and then you
ground.
want it.
Spring.
You do it in the spring and then you want it to grow and then you do it again or something because you want it to expend all the energy.
You let it grow. I thought you let it grow all summer,
Kills the roots.
and then when it's starting to draw the nutrients back into the root system for the
Yeah.
fall,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
paint it then, if you cut it and paint it, it's gonna suck all the Roundup or whatever back down into the root system.
Yeah,
at
kills
that
the
point.
roots.
Or in the spring, it's sending all the juices up through the plant. And you can, yeah.
I think it was like you cut it in the spring and let it expend its energy and then you would spray it in the fall and then let it, yeah.
There you go.
But doesn't that die down to the roots? I mean, it dies down to the ground?
Yeah, you'd have to get it before the canes died off. Like if you wanted to do Roundup, you would
Yeah.
have to apply it before.
You could probably cut, I bet in the fall you could probably cut a piece and if no liquid was coming out of it, then it's not sending water up to the top of the plant anymore, it might be drawing stuff back down, but before it dies.
I'd like to see that video.
Yeah.
Exactly how to,
The fellow from the state.
how it grows.
explained, Yeah.
I think it's telling from in the information that that came with a guide.
Might even be in this little booklet right here.
I think you can get it too from the New Hampshire Extension Service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody on, that's listening could get it on, just
That's
by
where this came from, right?
calling the
Yeah,
New
that came
Hampshire
from that.
Extension
That's
Service.
from 2000.
It's listed under UNA.
I don't see
The
that.
video, it will probably, I think it's still online.
Do you want Bob to get
So
that?
if you wanted to watch
Really?
it,
So common.
I do have.
No, the one that looks
I
like
grabbed mine, but-
bamboo. Oh, the bamboo, no.
See this?
Let's something to,
That has not been, but the reason I bring it up is that it's in a very good spot to spread a lot, along a busy road where people might cut it up. And it's just-
So what are you thinking, Jeff? I mean, are you thinking is that something that you would provide the homeowners with information about and you could deal with on their own? Or are you suggesting that maybe this is something that the commission wants to tackle? Because it's so close to her.
Well, that's why I'm not sure if that's something that we would wanna do. I mean, I can just envision the entire roadside becoming a wall of that through there. And you don't see that. There's isolated spots around.
Tell Rick to spray.
What's that?
Tell Rick to get.
Well, that's what I was kinda,
Down land.
like, is that the town?
Careful.
I don't know.
You
Yeah, I
need
don't
to-
know if he can apply,
You
he
need
probably
a
has to be
permit.
a licensed.
Ah,
Roundup? You don't have to have a license to spray Roundup.
I think on public land.
You do,
Yeah, that's what this face is saying.
Probably right.
Fred, was it Fred Borman?
Dan?
No, it
Let's
was,
see.
Bergeron. They changed it, and he said he volunteered to, get the license, but then we never went through with that.
Yeah.
Well, because Roundup, I mean, it's very good. It's very good for that purpose, and it does it great. And if you apply it carefully, it's fine. But it can have very negative impacts to aquatic ecosystems and amphibians and stuff that live in there. So that's why I think they want you not to just spray it,
Yeah, they,
randomly.
I saw up north one time. I was with the botanists for the White Mountain National Forest, and they were doing a project to eradicate it. It was in a floodplain of a river or a stream, I guess, and it's a river or not, but and they were painting. They weren't
Yeah.
spraying. I don't know if it was Roundup or not. I don't remember what they were using, but they were painting it, and that was what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because they were like, there's no way we can get rid of this any other way. It's not gonna happen. So they were painting it.
Normal paint?
No,
Or Roundup or some sort of.
Oh, that's what, okay, I didn't know I thought he meant
You
paint.
cut it
so-
off and then paint
Exactly.
the,
Okay.
paint the stem.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had like a container, I guess. They weren't doing it while we were there, but,
Okay.
he's like, this is where we went through and cut and painted. And, you brush it on, so you're not spraying it everywhere. I'm sure it still leaches into the soil and eventually into the water.
Or if at least I think it can have some chance to break down before it gets too.
It's a fairly short-lived compound, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think
That-
that sounds
That's why, I think that's why you can use it around food food
right.
crops. Otherwise, if it was highly persistent and toxic, that would be frowned upon.
especially on Ashwaubenon. Just a lot of wetlands and,
Well, that's why I would think you want to be careful.
yeah, well, just going over and doing it. Is it something that'd be better off to get the plant puller that we borrowed from?
Sounds no.
Disposal.
You can't get all the roots.
You can't get all the
Yeah.
roots.
You know,
They
it
don't
takes-
recommend that for
Takes that
those.
little quarter
Takes
inch,
a
half
core-
inch section.
core like.
You gotta poison it, basically.
Or smother it, like Stephanie said with mat. They use mats, big thick mats. to smother.
Yeah, he said something about covering with a heavy tarp.
Yeah, he had
Sometimes
pictures
you
of
go
it.
through the tarp, those has to be
Oh, heavy
really
tarp.
good.
They dug it up and they turned it over and they tarped it.
Yeah.
Being on the side of the road like that, I think it'd be difficult to tarp.
Yeah, there's not much space really between the walls and the road there, and it's like an embankment or a ditch.
I don't think it
One or
was.
the other. Yeah, I'm not sure that's why I kind of bring it up, 'cause I'm not sure exactly what the course of action is. It's in the public right away. I'm sure people have an interest in not having it there.
And if it's just small little plots of it, it'd probably be a good time to do it.
Or-
Stop it before it does
Yeah.
become a problem.
And if the town if the town went through and it happened to be in a ditch and they were cleaning ditches, they would scoop it out probably. But then where would they put it? Where would it go? And do they know that that's not weed? Probably.
Probably not.
So, and I don't know where that material ends up when they clean the ditches.
Now, The fellow that,
Yeah, and the compost heap.
Yeah.
that came and gave us
I'll
the
spread it in the yards.
all the
Yeah.
information on it. That's the part you can't burn, correct?
That one you can burn, you mean Roundup you can't burn, or
No,
definitely
no,
not?
no, the knotweed.
He says, it says burning, is one way. Bag all plant material, let rot, never pile it, and use it as compost, or burn it. Or
Use
burn
it or not use it?
Never pile it and use it as compost.
Okay.
Oh, so he
Oh,
doesn't
you
even
can
talk about
burn?
matting and that kind of thing.
I don't think any of these, I mean, I think that this is just a small,
Yeah,
whatever, you
yeah.
know.
It says here, for knotweed, the controls do not mow, cut stems at base, then smother by covering area with heavy-duty fabric or plastic. Herbicides also recommended for control.
Yeah, I've dug, I did find some in my yard. I dug it out and I put it on the roof of my shed for the entire summer, and it was dry and crumpling to dust, pretty much. I did it several years ago.
If I was,
Wow.
it doesn't.
But, I mean, that's not a good solution for
Doesn't,
it alongside. the-
No, no, but I mean, at the dump, at the
doesn't
landfill,
look like that.
they have a
It
burn
just
pile.
goes straight up.
Hmm.
If we bagged it, cut it, bagged it, sprayed
It
it,
spreads everywhere.
and then
It's not in
put it
there.
into the burn pile. I was
It's in my
worried about, you know,
backyard.
some things
This
could
stuff.
spread
There's
from
apparently
the ash, and
Stuff near the car wash looks like bamboo.
from the natural air currents of the burn. But that's not the case with this.
There are rules about knotweed where I have, as long as we do it all right, yeah, and like.
Well, if you bag
not
it,
mine.
tie it on.
Like a picture of it though.
They don't burn every,
It's gotta
we-
burn completely too.
they burn it like
Is it
once or
wetland?
twice a year.
No.
They burn that pile down.
It would probably sit there and disperse.
I just know that it spreads.
Well, that, again, if we kept it in
Take it
bags,
out.
heavy-duty plastic bags. I think you have to do that when you transport it.
It would only disperse if someone picked up and moved it though. Cause
In a plastic bag.
In a bag.
supposedly it doesn't, did they do tests to see how well it reproduced? He showed us the pictures of trying to make it reproduce from seed, and it didn't really work so well, but I guess you probably don't know if it sits there for 10 years, but, so like the stalks would actually have to be moved out of the pile. Cause you wouldn't wanna leave it in a plastic bag in the burn pile, I wouldn't think. No. So we
Yeah,
want
we're
to
not
get it out of
supposed,
that.
you just talking about, so we're not supposed to transport it around.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too, there are laws about transporting.
Yeah.
And we'd have to see the specifics, but I personally feel that if we did cut it and bag it, it's, to transport, it's better than letting it grow on the side of the road if we're taking it to a place of disposal,
Right.
which I think he said you're allowed to do. You're not allowed to transport it when it's in fruit, I think. But if it reproduces vegetatively, I'm not sure if they have to say something else. But you can't have like what do you call it, the vine with the berries on it, the bitters, you can't like have bittersweet covered with berries, you know, hanging out of your trunk while you're driving down the road.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll look into the disposal laws and so forth, or?
And maybe we could do a workshop, and a work day and do that.
And also, the other side of it is, look into disposal, but then if we can't transport it around, look into if a license is needed to do the roundup on the public right away.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing where I don't know if it's best to inform the people that own the land,
I think we
that
probably
abut
would.
the road, right, it's right in front of their house, and they wanna show up one day with
Right.
3 cars and start digging up the front of their yard, or not really their yard, I guess, but right in front of their yard. So I don't really know what the,
Maybe we just get the information and then decide if we wanna proceed any further, and at that point, we can talk about notifying.
you know, I can look at.
If we brought in samples of all the invasive things that, and
We've
have,
done-
and.
yeah.
Did you? And have it filmed, have Chris film it. This is knotweed, this is Norway maple, this is sumac, or whatever.
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can look and see what, we did that at a Heritage Fest.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We brought a bunch in for Heritage Festival. And
Yeah.
it's amazing, people really took notice of it. It was surprising to me.
I bet you that would go off again. well.
Yeah, it was, the Wigan Fund collected everything else, and I think you brought the knotweed from there.
Yeah, yeah. There is no Heritage Festival this year, is that correct?
There is none.
There is none.
So,
So that's not an avenue, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Old Home Weekend,
Well, that's a good point. That's what, midsummer or so?
I think so. Don't ask me
In
for
August.
dates. I got June 9th in my head.
okay, I was supposed to take care of one thing, so I'll go through that now. We had the problem with the water withdrawal from the rivers and streams in Newmarket. And the signs that we put up several years ago, and I'm going to say 10 years ago by the dates on that, most of the warning part of it faded away. It wasn't vandalized or like I had originally thought. When I went to check at Trotter Park Bridge, the signs just looked kind of funny, so I went around and I checked them all that I could remember and did an inventory of the signs. And I did have one left over from when we put those signs up. So I put that at the bridge. But what happened is all the red printing just disappeared. It faded right off the sign. So that day I did that, I went down to Newmarket.
New England Barricade?
New England Barricade. And the guy says, yeah, that happens with that red color. So they do have new tapes and vinyls that they use. So I got a price from him. I did get a price from them. They were $67 and change each. Yeah, which sounds like a lot more than what I remember paying
Absolutely.
10 years ago for the
It wasn't 10
originals.
years ago, but
Along that line.
Is it possible to then just paint the no withdraw or the no or whatever? I mean, is
Well,
that?
It's only the one little part.
Right,
So
isn't
can't
it-
we unscrew the signs and bring them to them and say apply the numbers to it?
I think we could. That might be a better alternative. I didn't even think of that, but why not? We need to edit the ordinance number was misprinted when we did those signs, so we need to edit that. Okay, that's not a big deal. But I will check on that Monday. I have Monday that I can do that. If they can touch up the signs, I'll go down to New England Barricade. The other option, I thought, maybe, when we had the sign for Tuttle Swamp redone, I thought it was whoever did it did a wonderful job. And it's nice and sharp and clear. And I went by and looked at that, and it's been up there for 2 years, and it doesn't show any sign of it. So before I thought it would be cut and dry, we'd just get new signs, but thinking that over, maybe we should, if we can't just get them reprinted on the original signs, maybe we should look into the company that did that large sign at Tuttle Swamp. I can't believe it'd be any more expensive than New England Barricade. But we did have, just so that we had 11 signs out to begin with, and every one of them has faded away. And as I did it, I wrote down a few that I didn't know that we should add, maybe 3 more. At the cemetery on Elm Street. It's left open during the day. I didn't know if we should put one there. And I think we should just talk that over. And Lamprey River Bridge, right, coming in 108. I know it's a long drop down to the water, but there's no sign there either.
I think I saw some people trying to do something there too the other
Okay.
day, so that might not be a bad
And
idea.
there's a couple on Ash Swamp Road already,
What they're
but
doing, but-
By Rick Malaski's house, there's a spring there, and plus the ash swamp, the swamp comes up to the road there too. It's not really deep, and I don't know that they could actually withdraw water there.
Bruce, could you remind us what the signs actually say?
Yeah, I can. Original reading was no surface water withdrawal permitted within the wetland overlay district. Town of Newmarket Ordinance number 2003-03. And I think that has to be edited, okay? If you witness water withdrawal, contact the Newmarket Police. And there's no number there now because it faded away. And then it was, at the bottom, there's just a little clarification that the sign was prepared by the Newmarket Conservation Commission and installed.
So the third place that you mentioned on Ash Swamp Road is a potential location for a new sign?
Yeah,
is
I
that-
had these
Yep.
11 are already installed.
Okay. Is that last location definitely in the wetland overlay district? That's my,
It's part of,
Question.
yes, I believe it is. Yeah. It's part of that bigger area. It goes all the way over to the Wigan Farm, all the way up to 152. That's all part of the same wetland area. The cemetery on Elm Street, I guess that's a toss-up, I don't know, but it is open during the day, and
We also, I mean, another thing about getting new ones is that we talked about adding information about potential places to go for paying for water, so that would be one of the reasons.
I talked to two fellows from the waterworks. Really got to talk to Rick, but they were under the impression there's a metered hydrant at either at the water treatment plant or at the town garage, which is, they're side by sides. They seem to think there was a metered hydrant there that they could purchase, and I'd suppose they'd have to set up an account with the town or whatever. Just like when you buy a dump permit, I suppose. You buy a water permit. Get your water for a hydrant.
So-
They may
so-
not want that because it has chlorine in it, but, let them figure that out.
So you suggest that as an alternative to people?
Well, I don't know that we want to put that
No,
on a
that's-
sign.
They're just gonna go somewhere else. They're
Yeah.
not gonna pay
They're not gonna pay, right.
hundreds and hundreds of places to get it.
Yeah, but, I mean, we started this initiative a few years back, quite a few years back.
I'm not
I
saying
think
give
it's
it up,
important
but
to keep it
They're not gonna
going.
pay town of Newmarket for water when they can get water free,
Yeah,
dozens of other places.
Which is good. I'd rather have them go somewhere else than the Lamprey,
yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah, but there's dozens of other places in the Lamprey they can get it.
In Newmarket?
No.
Okay.
No, but not far over the line.
No.
I hear you.
Don't throw over the line.
Right.
And I know where they're getting it. Just
Well,
over the
in
line.
this here, and possibly we draft a letter to the surrounding towns,
That's a good idea.
to the
Especially
surrounding
Lee.
towns conservation commission to let them know what we did, and maybe they could follow suit. Even, we send them a picture of the new sign. It's kind of hard to put a number on it right now, but I think this is part of the maintenance, part of commissioners taking care of these signs and getting them back up and
What, you mean budget-wise?
budget-wise.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure we still have to designate money for it through a vote, and just not take it out of maintenance.
Yeah, but you don't know yet whether you're gonna buy new signs or whether you're gonna have those fixed.
Well, right,
Yeah, till you talk
yes.
to them.
I can find that out Monday.
Too bad, because the signs themselves in the black are perfect.
Oh,
It's just-
yeah, the mechanics of the sign were all there. It's just that we had a red pinstripe around the outside. The no was red, and the something about the ordinance was red, and the police phone number was in red. That's completely just gone.
Do you wanna see that? Can I step one second?
Yeah, sure.
Is the place
One
that,
right by your house.
Yeah, I know, I looked at it the other day, I
Throw
saw
that
that
in there.
is the place that we got the sign for Telsmop, is that Infinite Imaging, is that what that was?
I think it was. I'm not sure. Drew knows. He's got all that information. 'Cause he's the one that picked it up and contracted it. But it would, I think it'd be wise to get a price from them.
Some imaging outfit.
Yeah, Infinite Imaging, I think.
Yeah.
They're in,
Jim do it?
they're in,
Jim Bergeron and I put the sign in, and he,
they're in Portsmouth and Dover now. They were at Pease, but I think they, but I'll go over that with, Drew.
I think there's one on Central Avenue over. I think there's a
Yes.
few of them around.
Yeah.
There's one up by Cheryl
Is it,
Williams up there.
is it a franchise or?
I don't know if it's a local franchise or a local.
I always thought it was
like,
just a
standard or if
local
it's a-
independent printer, you know.
Could be. I'm not positive.
They do tons of construction takeoffs and things like that, so. I was hoping to be able to come tonight and just propose that we spend some money to get new signs, but I think we're really going to the cost of having a
What if
different
we're-
sign.
if the red's a problem, just make it black, like the rest of it. You know, never mind the red.
That's true, because the black is still there, just like,
Oh, that's just as good as the day we put
just
them
as
in.
sharp as it was the first day. Do you think we want to add those three others? What's the thought?
If you put it up at the cemetery, you probably have to permission of the cemetery committee, unless you put it over where the pumping station is.
There is one at
There
the
is one there.
station.
Oh, there is, okay.
I welcome, if you can read my scratching here. There's one on 152 by Moonlight Bridge, the Waterworks pumping station, Trotter Park, Falls Brook, Sliding Rock. There's one down there at the landing, which makes a real convenient place to suck water out of the river. But there's one on Bay Road, just a short distance down from where Carl Gilbert's house was. New Road, right after Birch Drive. New Road, about a mile past Birch Drive. Ash Swamp Road by Jeff's house. Ash Swamp Road at Price's Garage. Grant Road by Fox Hollow. Lang Lane by Balodiker's house, where it got washed out in the floods there a couple of years back. Grant Road at, I believe that's Crow and Eagles Falls. Is that right? That's the 11 that we have in place now. And like I say, the cemetery, Lamprey River Bridge on 108, and Ash Swamp Road by Rick Malaski's. On one side, there's a dry hydrant for the spring, and on the other side is where the swamp comes up to the road.
My opinion is we've got enough signs out, rather than polluting the area with signs everywhere. There's enough signs out there. Can we make it just an ordinance, a town ordinance, that it's against the law to draw water from the rivers?
Yeah, but it
It
says that.
is already
This-
there. That's already in place.
Okay, then the police should enforce it then, right?
So these are just educational
anybody
signs to tell
sees-
people about that law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Most people probably don't know that it's that I would guess that most people in town don't know that they're not supposed to withdraw surface water from a stream.
Most people, unless
I mean,
they watch this, then they'll know, but
Yeah,
otherwise.
yeah. I mean, unless you've read the ordinances in the town.
Right, not too many people do
Yeah.
that.
But most
I don't-
tank companies would know.
They would hope they would. Well, I don't know. If
Well,
only if, I don't know if does the ordinance exist outside of the the wetland protection overlay district in the zoning ordinance? Is that
The way
exist
the
like-
the way it was written back when we did this, it was just like the sign says, in the overlay district.
Right, so the
So-
definition amended 2004, it just says that, the general requirements of no surface water withdrawal, so somebody would
presumably have to read the wetland protection overlay district ordinance in the zoning ordinance.
So if you had well,
So,
like Wynn's house, he has a pond on his property. He could sell that water to someone that came up if he wanted to, I suppose.
no, I don't know. Not if it was, not if
Nobody
a
asked.
wetland, or soil scientist would mark it as a wetland, because then it would be within the.
I don't know that we could put a sign on Wynn's property to stop him.
No, I don't know either.
I don't think that would fly.
No, but, I'm just pointing out the fact.
There's a
that-
hydrant there, come help yourself.
So, anyway, my thought on that was to do a little bit more homework now that, looking at the Tuttle Swamp sign before we come and ask for money to do all the repairs. In the meantime, though, I kind of drafted somewhat of a letter, and Drew edited it and fixed it up so it looked pretty good.
He said emailed it yesterday.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay, fantastic. That was my next question. Okay.
He's efficient.
I'm done. That's all I had to, that was my action item list, okay? Does anybody else have any items they want to bring to light?
Is it appropriate for composters and rain barrels?
Sure
now?
is.
Okay, I believe it was Jeff's suggestion that we contact Durham and see whether or not they would display over there and help us with our initiative to do rain barrels and so forth. And it's been a success. They've done a real good job. They were willing to actually display in the town office. We have a rain barrel on one side. I think I reported this previously. It's been there a month or so. And a composter on the other side as you walk in, so it's very visible. And there's an update that goes out from the town administrator that every Friday, and he's incorporated in that that they are available through Newmarket Conservation Commission. So they've really done a good job, and the reward is that we have, since the last meeting, sold 9 composters,
Jeez.
13 rain barrels, which is a record,
Yes.
8 turners.
Now, are
And-
those all to Newmarket people or Durham people?
Well, actually, 2 or 3, 2 I think were from Newmarket, 2 or 3, and the others were from Durham. But this was something that was discussed at the meeting here, and it was agreed that we would do that, even though that was not Newmarket. And they are our neighbors, I would say. So it has worked. I'll say that. And what those numbers translate to is what's in this envelope that I've given to Jeff, is we've retrieved $1,373 totally on those. Currently, we have, I believe it's 10 rain barrels and 8 composters, or the other way around. But that's the inventory, that's the residual that we still have. So they're plenty on tap if individuals in Newmarket want them. Now, with regard to Newmarket, we had displayed those in the town clerk's office. And it was decided that that was a fire hazard. So we moved them out in the hall, and it was decided that that was also a fire hazard. So in essence, we're not displaying in the Newmarket. And I think that's a handicap. I'm not sure how we obviate that. We've discussed where they might go. It was suggested they be put down in the auditorium. They were. When people vote, they might see them, and they might be interested in voting, not buying a compost or whatever. And the short of it is, we really didn't have any success in putting them down there, and I wouldn't suggest we do. So again, I'm open to suggestion as to where we might place them
Where are they in Durham?
in Newmarket. I'm sorry?
Where are they in Durham?
They're in the town hall, either side of the door as you go in. The white building?
Yeah.
What do you think about the dome?
So,
Well,
can't do that here, though.
it's been ruled a fire hazard
How
upstairs and
is it
downstairs.
possible a fire hazard?
Well, Rick claims the code is that. That
No way.
it's
It's a
against
fire
the
hazard
code.
in Newmarket, it must be a fire hazard in Durham too, isn't
Probably
it?
just haven't
That
gotten to
thought
yet,
crossed my
so I'm
mind.
guessing.
They have a wider hall
They will now.
It is spacious.
Fill it with water and it wouldn't be.
There you go. It is spacious in Durham. It's very well, it's horribly contained in Newmarket. It's very small spaces, I'm sure you know.
But if you put
entrance to the-
No room.
The entrance to the building, down there, that little foyer, that as you come in the front doors. it's not- it'd
We
be
could
big
do
enough
that,
to-
and we have a couple, for example, at the library now in Newmarket.
Okay.
And they're tied together in the hopes that nobody takes them, because when we had them downstairs, we had two composters disappear.
You can chain them to the rail, to the opener on the door, but the chain be long enough so they don't.
I don't know if you.
It would be a very small chain, because the only orifice there is where the pegs go in the ground. And with regard to the rain barrel, I'm not sure how you would take that, or chain that, rather.
It might be worth the risk just to have them down and see if you sell more.
Actually, you could chain it to the spout, the spigot.
Hmm.
That would work.
I would guess that if it's a fire hazard in the hallway, it's gonna be a fire hazard in the stairwell.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine it would be. I can't conceive it wouldn't be.
Do you have pictures of them?
We have flyers that are pictures, yeah, that we did, in fact,
How about
did
if we put a flyer in the showcase up
yeah, we could do that, and with regard to what you said, we have flyers that are actually applications where you can just send it in, or telephone, or whatever, and get one of these.
I just wondered if it made sense to try to tie it into the town website
It's in the
or
internet.
mail, you know, there's
The mail.
more going on with email
I was
and
gonna say
town
that
web.
it was on the mailer. I'm not sure if it's consistently, but it was definitely on there once, so.
I saw a
know-
couple of times
It
on
was.
the administrators.
And I think they had pictures of it over here in the hallway, and those, in the glassed-in cases there at one time, too. They had pictures of.
We posted those there, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think the composters on display at the town dumps and that they're available through the Conservation Commission? I mean, someone's taken their 3 bags of garbage to the dump because they didn't get them out to the curb that week, and they say, oh, composter per se.
I think it's
don't
an
know.
excellent spot. I'm not sure, you know maybe more about it than I do, how you protect those.
Oh, I don't know.
Exposed, yeah.
It would mean
Like, leave it right by the
the
stop
caretaker
sign.
would have to
I think
bring
so.
him in and out of his office building there, the trailer probably.
Oh, you mean so it doesn't get rained on?
Wonder
Well,
if you
so
could
they
people-
don't be walked away with.
Yeah, they're pretty light, even though they're awkward.
Wonder if you could put them up at the fire station. They have like a foyer, the roof line, and chain them down or whatever. They say, people, if you want to go look at them, go up to the fire station, the entrance to the fire station, right on the outside. Wonder.
They would certainly go there, yeah.
I mean, you think someone will take them at the dump? I don't know, like, if the dump's open, the guy's there, and it's right next to the door, and it has a sign on it, said that the for sale, not like.
Well, I'd be happy to look into it and see what we can do, you know, assure myself that we have some measure safety.
Yeah,
In regard to somebody
that's what
walking
you know,
around.
if you just want, if someone's like, oh, look at, somebody's throwing away a composter, I'm gonna put it in my truck. and
Yeah,
take it."
no, I'd be happy to look into that.
We'll need to check with Mike too.
Yeah, they might not want it there.
They might not want the responsibilities.
That was my thought. Mike
You might
is
wanna-
sort of the caretaker there?
No, Mike Moss,
Rick.
Moss.
Oh, Rick.
I think we should check with Rick first and go through the chain.
I'd be happy to do that if the commission wishes to. have me.
I would
A lot
rather
of
sell
people
them
go
to
in there.
Newmarket people than Durham people.
Oh, I agree 100%.
I think if
I have no
everything's a
problem
fire
selling it
hazard,
to
then a picture sounds.
I don't
great.
really.
If somebody wants them in Durham, I think all the power, go right ahead.
Full-size
When you run through them, are you planning to buy more? How
There
does
you
that
go.
work?
Right, and mounted on the wall.
Well, in the past, we have, but
Might get tired of,
no,
Or just some of
no, that's not a problem.
Are we halfway down from the inventory we bought this year?
Oh, we're more.
More than that.
It's probably less, it's maybe a third and 25%, you know.
Yeah.
so if I want one, I have to hurry up.
Still not making
Yeah.
any money on them.
Right.
Please.
No, the idea
at
was to
cost.
get them out there, sell them at cost, and I'm, fine with that, and as far as selling to Durham, I wish Newmarket would take advantage of it first, but,
Oh, I agree, but, we agreed that Durham would be a spot that we would
Yeah.
go to.
Why not?
I'm all in favor of adding $5 to the cost of our non-residents, picking them up. I don't know what the commission would think of that. I mean, we're not here to make money, but
I don't even know if we can.
I don't know if we can.
Well,
That would be income.
I feel fairly strongly that it's the concept we want to advertise and espouse. It's,
Right.
you know, the
I guess
five-
we should do it as good neighbors.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll go along with that. You want to check with Rick Malinsky about putting them at the dump to show them off with, I'm gonna
Yep.
task you with another thing.
That's not a problem. I'd be happy to do it.
Can you look into getting full-size photos of them to hang up in the hallway here?
Full size?
Yeah,
Oh,
actual size photos, you know?
No, I know what you mean. I just don't know what the cost would be. Yeah, I can do that.
You mean poster board size?
Posters, yes.
You know what? I just had some posters made.
And put them up
They're-
on the wall. That wouldn't be a fire hazard, would
And
it?
I'll tell you what,
Good point.
I can show you what one looked like. Well, that one, I can tell you the price. 'cause
Yeah,
it's-
where'd you have them made and how much they cost?
I actually went to, what's that store? Staples.
Staples.
Staples, yeah?
And this came out and it was, price was $62 I paid. And-
Per coaster?
Yeah, and it was mounted, well, this one was mounted and laminated. And it was a good, big size for a golf event. It's expensive, but if, I mean, it was laminated, we may not have to go, but they did a very good job. I mean, we had it made, and it was about this big that came out, and about this wide. We had a golfing event, and we wanted people to see what they were
Oh,
actually
okay.
putting the money towards.
Did you see that?
And they did a good job. It's just, you know, I don't know what you're looking for, but
This is it right here, right? I take
Yeah,
it.
it was-
Okay.
Are you guys thinking of laminating, do you think, or just?
I mean, depending where you're putting them. If you're putting one at the dump,
Well, I don't, no, I was thinking of the hallway here instead of putting actual,
oh, you may not want something that.
we put it right up against the wall on the floor, but then it could look like it was, you know, there.
I don't know, I think maybe
Is that a little
if we
hokey?
wanted to just do like slightly bigger photos than what we had here, and a sign saying that they were available might be a more cost-effective advertisement.
Like 11 by 17 vertical.
Yeah,
that kind of
something
stuff.
like that. It'd be a lot cheaper, but it's gonna catch the eye more than what we
It'll
have
catch
on
more
the
than that
postboard
little-
out there.
So standard would probably be 8.5 by 11. Would that be satisfactory?
I think so.
I mean, it'd be the size of that paper,
The size of a sheet.
8.5 by 11. Is that good enough, that size?
I think so.
And put something up against it so they get a perspective of how big this thing is, like,
Oh, yeah, that's a good
you can
idea.
put a, I don't know, a gallon jug or a bucket or something next to it so they get a perspective. Take a picture of that.
It was 55-gallon capacity, so we could do that.
Yeah. Because a 5-gallon bucket is gonna look pretty small.
They're on the website too, aren't they?
They were.
They're advertised on TV.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
I don't know how busy the TV is. Yeah, so.
we're not making any money.
That wasn't, yeah, you're right. That wasn't the,
Salesman about it.
And the reason for putting a 5-gallon bucket next to it for perspective, you're conserving a lot of water. That's 55-gallon
Mm.
container. I bought one. Worked out great. I water my garden. I have a raised bed garden. Put the barrel up and it collects the water running off the roof. I run a hose, a small 20-foot hose off the spigot in the bottom, run it out to the garden.
Mm.
It's even enough to come out of a little rotating thing.
Really?
So,
Neat.
yeah.
Wow.
good enough.
So
Good
I
enough
got it
height.
going in 4 directions.
Gravity's a good tool, right?
Yeah, I didn't put a pump on it. If you put a pump on it, you get a lot of pressure.
Sure.
You get that little pump.
Needing to water.
It costs you a
something.
cent to do it.
They raise
Just-
now.
Yeah.
Any other items to bring up?
Under new business or action item?
New business?
I had a neighbor, a concerned citizen, approach me about turtles crossing Ashland Road, in the neighborhood of where our sign is, where the swamp is right there, by where I live, and we see a lot of turtle activity. I have them 2 types. I have snapping turtles and spotted turtles nest in my yard every year, and this fellow saw someone pull over and
there was a turtle digging in the sand off the shoulder of the road, presumably to put eggs in, and the person picked up the turtle and threw it back in the water. And his thought was, is it possible to put up a turtle crossing sign or a nesting turtle sign or something of that sort? And, he asked that I bring that to the commission and see if any.
I've seen them.
I know that some people are opposed to additional signage in town, and I respect that, but I actually think that the wildlife crossing signs are really useful, and I would support that.
You see them? Where do they come from?
Wetlands. they come
Yeah.
up-
No, the,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
not where the turtles, where do they get these signs from? You see them?
You can order them.
You can order-
Yeah,
Just go to
online.
sign company, something.
Can?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I've never done it, but.
The one at the head of Ash Swamp and the other, both head into Ash Swamp Road.
I'm sure there's a lot of activity at the other end where the
Up
dump
by
is. Well,
past the
I'm not
dump.
sure. But
I think it's a good idea, Jeff, because I see turtles on the road I live on, and people just fly on these roads. And sometimes, I mean, I hate to see a little dead thing squished. I don't care what it is, even if it's a chipmunk. I hate to see something dead in the road when it could be prevented. And if the turtles just move so darn slow that it wouldn't hurt to put some money into the turtle crossing signs. I'm all for that.
I think that's what we're here for, so, I mean, if, now is when they they nested last month, basically, right?
I had one in my yard 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say that for this season, it might be
Yeah,
too
but
late.
if
But
we
it doesn't
tackle
hurt
it
to
now, we
grab
can
it.
have it done and installed before we have to worry about it again.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
there something?
I mean, I can't speak, but I
Maybe-
think we need to
Oh.
have a consensus one way or the other before.
I would be in favor of putting up, I don't know if we need 1 or 2 signs. Because that area is wet for quite a ways.
That's true.
I think it would be, you'd want to alert people going in both directions.
I think it's helpful to have a time frame. I've seen turtle crossing signs, but they don't have a time frame, and then I'm
It's
like,
true.
I don't know if this is now or if this is, you
Some
know.
of them say that. When we got into that lighting thing we were talking about, it was like May 15th or June 15th or whatever it was. I mean, there was a time period
I mean,
stated
even if it
on
was just
on
spring or
those.
something, that would be, you know.
Or even if, I mean,
We
people put
wouldn't
up
take
those-
the sign in and take it out and put it back in the spring. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I would want it to be something that's at least on, I would think you would want it on like a signpost and bolted to it,
Yeah.
so someone didn't just grab it.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
But I mean,
they remove it during
Is it something, is it a sign we want to pull in the winter time or, and then get it out in the spring for that ritual? Or do we want to just leave it out? I'm in favor of putting the signs out. But, like Bob said earlier, though, you don't wanna put too many signs.
No, I agree, and I'm definitely against over signage, and I think that the sign being in place during the appropriate time has the effect of not having people ignore it. If you pass that sign every day, 365 days a year, you're probably not gonna see it after the first couple months, you know?
Right.
Yeah. But if you put it out in the spring, somebody will go, there's something new on the side of the road, and it's the sign right there. And then it's
So that's
gone.
what I'm asking. Would we be better off to do that?
But then it falls on future commissions to remember to do it, and
Yeah.
none of us may be here to remember to do it, and then it's stuck in their
I
archives.
can't remember anything.
You know, I agree though, I think it draws your attention if it's seasonal, but then it's
Maybe we can investigate sign options, and maybe some of them
Yeah.
say that some kind
spring,
of,
summer.
yes, and that would be helpful.
You could also, if you put up a couple of signs, you could also pursue that, like the newsletter has to try to put them at the beginning of the spring season. So you could have a couple of things that you did annually like that try to increase the awareness.
Yeah, like we were talking about having an actual, like, here's our schedule of when we need to monitor specific properties. Like, we could actually have like a list of
maintenance things to do.
It might be best if it's, you take it out, and the only reason I say that is because I don't know where it is and how far you take it off the road, but for the plowing, these back roads.
Well, yeah, you'd have to put the sign off.
Can you post a sign like that on the telephone pole, or is that not legal because we don't have poles?
I don't think you can do that. I think you might go get permission to do it, but,
Well, I think it would be an impediment to them climbing.
Yeah, it's
It's
true.
not authorized.
yeah, I don't think we can.
Windows.
We had a big fight about that
Oh, right.
10 years, 15 years ago. We had to go around and take all the signs down, like downtown. There was a big uproar about it. PSNH lost.
Oh, gosh.
Of course they did. They're the mean
So-
service people, right?
So it wouldn't be something where we would actually remove the post every year, though.
Just the
right?
sign.
So you'd probably want the reflector on the post too, so you didn't have just a dark post there off the road, so there'd be a reflector and then the sign probably.
We can get the signposts pretty easy and reflect.
We get the signs and give them to you, you just put them out, take them down.
For as long as I'm on.
I've seen that turtle there before.
With the
Two
snapping
different
turtle
years.
about this big?
Yep.
That's the one that.
On the other side of the road from your house,
I
right?
think it went to my garage the other day. My son went in there the next day and said, there's a turtle in the garage. I'm like, what? There's no turtle in there. So we went in there, there's a big turtle in the garage. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Kinda tough scratching in there though, right?
Yeah. Let it back out.
Very
Got it,
great.
you know, ushered it with a shovel back into the yard, 'cause that thing was a little feisty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're tough.
It did its thing and went back across the road.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
I think what we need is a price on a couple of signs. I'm pretty sure we get the posts from Rick and the reflectors from Rick. I think that's a good idea. If we're gonna take the sign off, put the reflectors on it, it's a great idea. Might save a couple of posts.
I mean, is it something you think if the time we full fund, we'll find the price and then we'll see, and if, I don't know if that's something Public Works is interested in taking this, I mean,
They're not gonna take it in and
I'm
out.
not gonna take the sign
I
down.
think that's something that we're gonna have to do. We as.
I'm not saying we can't do it. I was
Give
just
it to your
saying
neighbor.
longevity.
See, here we go.
Yeah, it's very.
You brought it up, you
You
take
brought it
care
up,
of
we got the signs, you take care of it.
Designated
Okay,
turtle
Jeff.
monitor. I can look into the pricing of the
Yeah.
signs.
You can? Okay. We're talking about two? Well, you'll know,
It's
price
like-
each.
Yeah.
You're not gonna buy them anyway. Okay.
Or are we talking about four because you said it would need to be displayed coming and going?
I think just two.
One on each end of the road,
Specific
right?
Spot, I mean, I don't know if you wanna
Okay.
have one at like 152, or if you wanna have them in areas where they're known to be, or if you wanna have like a, I mean, if you want, cause you see them on like 108 all the time too. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's what I mean. We're gonna get into something, we gotta put up 1,000 signs.
Or are we targeting a specific area?
Do they cross everywhere on the road, Ash Swamp Road, or just on a certain area? You see
Well,
them?
I know they cross in that specific spot, cause I see them frequently.
I would say that we only want to hang the signs in places where we know that they're crossing.
Yeah.
And if we don't know any other locations right now, just wait and grab
Yeah.
out.
If someone contacts us and says.
Yeah.
I know we don't have jurisdiction over it, but I see them on Durham Point Road, Dame Road, everywhere. I mean, they're ubiquitous. They're all over the place.
It's a good thing.
But Ash Swamp Road gets a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
In the morning, it is probably, you know, it's not like downtown, but it's busy.
It's really good.
And there's a lot of people crossing over and, you know, it takes several minutes to get out onto traffic on 108 in the morning. I'm sure Jeff runs into that too.
That little place that you
Actually,
mentioned.
it's a little sketchy.
You riding your bike on Ash Swamp Road now is not fun.
No. The same way on Bay Road. The place that you mentioned, just below Carl Gilbert's, I picked, I don't know, maybe half a dozen turtles up this spring even. I put them back in the water there.
That's different than where you're talking about?
Yeah, you're talking about if a turtle's crossing the road, if I see one crossing the road, my typical habit would be to I'll pull over and I'll move it in the same direction it's headed.
Yeah,
That's the far side of the road.
No, I'm not,
Because
yeah, I was
nesting
thinking about the
turtles-
location, that's a different location than.
It's a different location, yeah, but my point was, they're all over the place, whether it's Durham Point Road or Bay
Probably like
Road
more
or
concentrated
whatever.
in certain areas, you know.
Oh, yeah,
where
this is a
wetlands
stream.
or- Yeah,
This is a stream that goes into the bay.
so,
Yeah, what's the stream right there? It's the
Crummets Creek.
Crummets Creek.
so do you think that there's enough turtle traffic there to warrant like an additional signs or?
Well, I think there's enough traffic, but I haven't seen any that have been hit recently.
Cummins Creek isn't there.
Part of the,
Crummets Creek is in Durham, right?
Okay, so
But the one
And
by
that-
Paulville that's not Cummins Creek, what is that?
Oh, gosh, I'm not sure what that name of that is.
I know, we get a sign there.
But there's a lot of crossings there.
Yeah. As a pilot program, why don't we start with that Swamp Road?
Sounds good.
and part of the concern wasn't just the crossing, it was like that there are nesting turtles as well.
Yeah, she comes up there every spring, I've seen it twice, right
Is that-
across from your house, digs right on the edge of the road.
I've lived there for 5 years and she's been in my yard and
Yep.
we're pretty sure it's the same one, we don't wanna mark it, but,
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Break in, number 5, one is.
A dam fingernail polish. No, I would never do that.
Well, they live forever, I mean, if they're not molested, so.
Long, yeah, over 100 years, right?
Right. Wow. That's what I was always under that impression, they can live to be 100. I've seen some real big snapping turtles in the area, so. Okay. You're gonna look into the signs, correct? I'm good with that. Any other new or old business?
Does anyone know, the letter that I circulated, the thank you letter, does anyone know if Drew had sent?
Yes, he has.
He has.
Yes,
Did that go out with the letter?
it's on the action item list. Yeah, he sent them both out.
Okay. How do you know this?
Because he wrote to me to tell me what
Oh,
he's done
okay.
on the action item list.
Oh, I see.
And I was gonna update people when we got there, but,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
And the letter to the landscaper went out too.
Yep. So do you wanna go through, I mean, do you want me to go through it and I can tell you what has been done?
Sure.
Okay.
That's a
So-
good thing to do.
Contact Public Works about potential source for water. I know, Bruce, you talked to several people. Drew said he also contacted people in an email form. So maybe we'll see if those two answers jive. Replace the signage. We're working on that. Write a letter to the landscaping company. We have sent that out. Water withdrawal sign inventory has been done. Shanda Park signage about not feeding ducks.
Is that still there?
There's a sign there.
That we talked
Oh,
last week
sorry,
about.
it's there, yeah.
It is.
Didn't we
Yeah, it
talk-
was to look into that, and the answer is it's,
I checked
But when
day before
it's
yesterday.
So it's there.
No dogs and no feeding of waterfall.
seen a few dogs down there recently.
Oh, yeah. Ladies go down there and feed the ducks all the time. There was about 20 of them there eating our grass
Yeah,
yesterday.
they do love
I mean,
the
it-
grass.
Just, there's nothing you can do.
The next one was connect with snow rollers and invite them to invasive species management, and that was done for the previous invasive species.
Yeah, actually, we should probably say that there was a fellow, and I can't remember his name right now, maybe you remember.
Oh, yeah, geez, I don't.
He came and he was extremely helpful, so we would like to thank him for coming out. And we promised him that we'd invite him back if we did another day.
Okay.
He's really good at it, so.
Compose a letter of thanks to Ellen Snyder. That has been sent out. And then the following have not been done, but I'm going to read them to remind us of them.
Mhm.
Mark easement boundaries at New Roots Farm. Create an education outreach plan about nitrogen removal. Review amended application in Concord to see if the Follets Brook is a prime wetland. Develop a process for identifying when land has changed from current use.
Didn't Drew talk about that in the last meeting?
He said it wasn't finalized.
Oh,
We
okay.
talked to Becky, but he needed to, I think, nail down a few details or something.
Finish the connector trail at Piscasset Loisel.
amend the Wigan Farm Management Plan to move mowing after September 15th. And remove the defective snowmobile bridge from Wigan Farm.
Now, the fellow you talked to at Snow Rollers, was that at the,
He came to pull invasive plants
Okay.
at Hollinsbrook.
okay. Well, we did nibble away at some of them.
I think we got away with the newer things, but we still have some things that are.
I think we still need to do work at Shannon Park, repairs and things.
Oh, the walls.
Yeah, I know, last year during the summer I was really busy. But that might be a Monday, on my day off, I'll go down and do an inventory down there. Maybe I can pick up on that. Anybody else got any pet peeves to take care of? I'll entertain a number 9 motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeff, this is for you.
8:30.